Hey, it's Manny. So one of my favorite things in Division 2 right now are the leagues, and specifically the time missions. What I want to share with you today is my new favorite speedrunning build. It's an oldie, but a goodie, the Eclipse Protocol build. I'm sure you've seen plenty of builds on it, and mine's not going to be that much different. You only put a 4-piece so many times, so many other pieces with it, but I'm going to explain how to use it while speedrunning the league missions. It works great on the hard and challenging missions, but it can be a little tough on the heroic by yourself. It's really easy to gather and get god rolled. Before we start, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and ding that notification bell so you know when there's new videos. And if you're looking for someone to game with, you can find me and other players in the Militia Discord server. The link is in the description below. As I mentioned, this is a 4-piece Eclipse, nothing new. So we just want to go over it real quickly so you have a good understanding of the pieces we have. So we're going to start off with a Vile Mask. We're going to put a skill haste mod in here. It obviously comes with status effect and hazard protection, and it has toxic. We're using it because of toxic delivery. So basically, all status effects also apply with damage over time debuff, which is nice. So everything's going to have status effects, so you get that damage debuff all the time. Now the backpack is a Eclipse backpack. We're going to reroll secondary to status effect, and we're going to throw a skill haste mod in there. And Eclipse gives you 15% status effect. For 2-piece, 3-piece gives you 50% skill haste and 30% hazard protection. And the beauty part is the 4-piece. You get indirect transmission, which basically status effects now spread on kill. Anything within 10 meters, it refreshes 50% of the duration. So the backpack gives you another talent which amplifies all damage you deal to status effect targets by 30%. This is going to help us with chunguses. Now the chest. So obviously same stuff. We're going to reroll status effect. We have a skill haste mod on here, and you get proliferation, which increases the indirect transmission range from 10 meters to 15 and refresh percentage from 50 to 75. More damage, and it actually going to hit further targets, which is nice. The gloves, basically just Eclipse gloves with rerolled status effects. Knee, shoulder, the holster, same thing, status effects as a secondary attribute. And then my 6th one is my knees, which I said I got Hanayu. I got 10% skill haste. I rerolled skill haste and status effects, and you get a skill tier. Now, ideally, you get a piece of Golem, which has 10% status effects as a brand set bonus. It is a blue piece, so you'll have to reroll the core attribute to skill tier. Try to find a piece with status effect as high as you can. If you get one with skill haste and status effect, you're rolling in a dough bite. So that's what you want. You want status effects, Golem gear, reroll this to skill tier. I haven't gotten my piece yet. I just started playing with this fairly recently, so that's on to the next thing. All right, so for skills, we have the Stinger Hive. Now, Stinger Hive's not something I use that often since I basically use this as a speedrunning thing, but there are some places where there's timed events where you're going to sit somewhere for 30 seconds. Throw this out there. It helps out a lot. This is our main form of damage, is the Firestarter Chem Launcher. Basically, you're going to target something, set them on fire, and let it just chain and roll and kill everything. So those are the two I use. Now, for weapons, I have a FAMAS and the Capacitor. FAMAS I don't really use. I don't know why it's here. I don't ever use it. I do use the Capacitor once in a while, like on chunguses and things like that. Once I set them on fire, I then unload with the Capacitor. I have tried using Scorpio, which does really good, the new exotic shotgun, but limited range, and it does damage over time. It doesn't do a lot of hard-hitting damage, so sometimes it takes a little longer to kill the chunguses. I feel like the Capacitor just burns through it much quicker. And with the Capacitor, you get basically shooting enemy builds up stacks of 40. You get 1.5 skill damage. For each skill tier, you gain 7.5 weapon damage. So it starts adding up, which is really nice. So at skill tier 6, you get over 40 something, mid 40s for weapon damage, which is nice. For our grenades, you get an incendiary. I don't use them that very often, and hardly ever, and I never use the pistol. For our specialization, we're going with survivalist. We're looking for that 10% bonus damage with status effects. This is going to help with the heavies / chungus, and then you get 10% haste while in cover, and also killing enemies under status effect. Everything is going to die while it's under status effect. You get 3 to the ammo bar, so you get those crossbow bolts a lot quicker. Your signature weapon also, i.e. the crossbow, will scale with skill tier. So we have 6. That's going to scale quite a bit, and that's going to do a lot of damage. That's our build. Now on to how we use it. All right, so Grand Washington Hotel is one of the time trial missions this week. Not a particularly hard one, but one we had, so I just use this one to go. Now, first thing you want to do is make sure you have your chem launcher out. I'm going to keep moving it. Hit them fast, ignite it, double tap it, and keep going. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind, and this always happens to me, is I double tap to ignite the fire starter, and I end up switching back to my main weapon. So just gotta be careful what you're doing. Now here, watch, this will be chained. I'm gonna hit this far guy on the left, hit him, he burns. I just keep running to the exit because watch, it's just gonna chain, and everyone, I'm gonna hit, but they're gonna come out. Now they're all on fire. I fired one chem launcher. I'm at the end. I mean, see how fast it just doesn't get fast in that. You'll see the same thing just basically in this next room as we run up the wall here. We're gonna chem launch these guys right here, set them up, and basically this will just chain all the way through the room. And as the guys come out over there, just make sure they're fire too. Now we're going. I fired one chem launcher, cleared this whole room. Doesn't really, I hate to say this, it doesn't take much skill. What you need to do is know where the enemy's going to come out and where they're going to be in relation to where you are, so that you can easily, there you go. I didn't actually have the chem launcher out. I thought it was. Things like opening doors and stuff can actually mess it up. And also, you see what I just did there? Once you ignite the chem launcher, you will not catch fire on it. Do not ignite it while you're in it. It'll basically kill you. But once you ignite it, you can run right through it, even if the fire is still going. Now this room's going to take 2 chem launchers. I get the initial set of guys. They're all going down. And then I know that another group's going to come out the door over there. Once again, I had the rifle out. I had to switch quickly. There it is. Now we clear that room. So that's why you got to be careful of. Like I said, when you open doors and stuff like that, it'll switch weapons. One thing is I always get confused which one I have. Oh, here's a good place where, like, typically if I get this guy, it'll chain and kill everyone. Unfortunately, the explosion killed him, so he didn't catch fire and set it off. Once again, I didn't have my chem launcher out. Once I get this guy caught, purples are better than red simply because they're less likely to die from the explosion, and everyone's gone. And now we can move on. You can also see all the extra XP I'm getting from the chain kills. That's going to help with your shade level as well. So one thing I've been doing, trying to notice, is I have the capacitor as my main weapon. So if the capacitor is not on my back, if I don't see my capacitor, that means I don't have the chem launcher in my hand. Another good reason to have the capacitor. Is another one, basically almost be cleared with one. So ignite him. Once he's done, all the guys out will die. Then you're gonna have another group. The only issues you gotta remember is they come out a couple different doors. They end up coming out the door in front of me. They don't always do that. Sometimes they come out the door down the hallway, and then there's one more group down this hallway here. You just gotta learn. Part of speedrunning is knowing when the enemies are gonna come out, so you can anticipate and kill them quickly. Once again, it's just going to peek over here, and I do a bad job. I should have fired earlier. I wasted a few seconds on this. But once he ignites, the rest of them are up. And just a couple guys down this hallway. Now, instead of, one of the things I could do too is I could actually run with a shield, maybe the Crusader shield, but then I lose the hive. Sometimes it's not worth it. Especially on these only hard level missions, so they're not that difficult to actually get through. All right, now we're on the roof. On this run, I actually have some bad luck, and you'll see in a minute. Now, I've only started speedrunning this with Eclipse recently, so I don't know all the great places. So I'll show you where I threw my hive, which turned out pretty good. But as you can see, I got a heavy. Right off the bat. So I got a heavy, plus the boss in this is a heavy as well. So I threw the hive over by that the far right door. And I stay pretty much over here and just hide out over here. Use the crossbow bolts to break the heavy's armor. So hopefully you've gotten a few. And then just most of the enemies come out that far right side, so they'll get hit by the hive. But the heavy really messed me up. Like typically you don't get one, but if you get a heavy, it is what it is. Try to get rid of the medic so he doesn't keep reviving everyone. Set him on fire once again. Set the heavy on fire and then start shooting with a capacitor, so you do the extra damage. His arm is broken. He goes down now. But unfortunately, I lost a lot of time just on that alone. Easily half a minute to a minute worth of time trying to kill that one heavy and move on. And then which caused these other enemies on the right-hand side to sneak up on me. I could have actually chem launched them before they got out. But, you know, a lot of this is a luck of the draw. And And you see those guys are over there. Chem launched them. They get hit by hives. Just let it chain. And from this point, you can actually see the door where the boss comes out, where Saint comes out. Now you just unload them with the crossbow bolts. Keep hitting them a whole bunch of times. This is one of the downfalls of this, is it's not really that great of a build for heavies and stuff like that. It'll burn right through all the other content, but the heavies is tough. So his armor's pretty much broken now, so I could just use the capacitor and take him down. We'll set him on fire first so that we get the damage bonus. And then just burn him out. Now there's one little guy running around the other far side that I missed. I should have gotten him. There we go. Run by the door, and then you just run out. This is also knowing what you need to do for the mission so you can get through it quickly. But you can see there was a lot of stuff I could have cleaned up there. Now, coming down here, it's pretty easy. I know there's going to be a group of enemies coming out the right side, and a group of enemies then coming out the left side. I got to get better with my angles on the left, and you'll see that coming up soon. I do cheat a little bit, though. I'll show you where I cheat with the build on this one. There's nothing wrong with what I did. Sometimes missions just aren't designed for a certain build. All right, this one's pretty easy. The right side, they come out right away. Just target this little spot here. The other thing you got to do too is you got to learn how to use angles with the chem launcher and bounce it off walls, because sometimes you can't get it in a certain area, but if you bounce it, it'll land in the right place. It takes me about 3 times to get this one, and that's it. Here's where I cheat. I switched to a DPS build. The reason for it, it takes so long to get through this door if you have the Eclipse build. Even using the machine gun, it takes forever, so it's just not worth it, especially if you're speed running. At this point, pull out your high DPS one, and you're gonna get, I think, 3 or 4 enemies come through the door. But I know it's cheating. It's not a complete Eclipse run, but I just can't stand sitting through that door. It's probably about half a minute to a minute just waiting to get through that door, so I don't think it's worth it. And there you have it. Probably the best speedrunning build money can buy. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button below and leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. If you'd like to see more content like this, then please smash that subscribe button. And also hit me up when I'm live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Maniocrity, where I stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till next time, agents, happy hunting.